not watching everything, it means nothing.
The large print giveth, and the small print taketh away.
You, sir, are a geek.
You guys are talking about Maven from Tough Enough, right?
What's going on, Ramblers out in the world? I am not your host, John Covey Cole. I am Derek Jones. Got Steve New. Brian Resner's here. I'm not sure where the superstar is, though, but by that intro video, I'm guessing he's making...
Hey, Brian.
He's making his way in.
I had some things going on, you know what I'm saying? I was doing a little willing and dealing and what have you. That's what champions do, Derek. You know what I'm saying? How you doing, brother?
Shane
Of
McMahon,
course.
you're needing an appropriate introduction, apparently.
Of course he let it go to his head.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, we have a lot of fun on this show, and I like to poke fun at John a little bit here and there, but I'm genuinely, most of the time, a nice person, but I don't know what's going on with John Covey Cole.
You're just sour, bro, because you didn't walk out the Royal Ramble champion last week. That's all it is. I wasn't even in the contest and I walked out the champ. How does that make you feel?
Disgusted.
Who are you, Seth Rollins?
John frickin' Covey Cole. How you doing, Steve?
Doing great, man.
You wasn't here last week.
I was
we
not
missed you.
here last week. I was tied up late in court, as it were, but it's great to be back this week. Got a lot of really great stuff going on in my life right at the moment, not the least of which is today's my 15-year anniversary practicing law at my law office.
Congratulations.
And, yeah,
my friend.
yeah. We had a great party today with a lot of the lawyers and the folks from the legal community came over. So I'm on between that, seeing my daughter at Carnegie Hall Monday performing with Boy George.
I can only imagine.
I'm still on cloud nine, guys.
So what you're telling me is you and Scott Steiner's math promo share an anniversary?
That's exactly
You got
right.
22 and a third chance of sharing a birthday or an anniversary.
That's right. How about a 28.9 chance of being...
I'd like to sit down and actually figure those numbers up, see if it's close.
They're not. Nowhere close.
No.
Brian, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. I see that you're doing good as well.
Hey, man, living the high life, baby. You know what I'm saying?
By the intro of the show, if you all didn't catch it, you should rewatch it and then jump back into the show. If you didn't know already, John Covey Cole is the producer of the show. Spoiler.
That's a true story.
Well, and he has a...
Like, most of us
true
can't even
story.
get in the intro, much less have a whole vignette of our own. And a camera crew to follow us into the studio.
This is just it. I was running behind. I asked my guy, I said, hey, meet me outside. How about that? And he met me outside. How about that? I mean, I can't help it. They
Did you really just say that?
I didn't
That's
say,
just-
I didn't say catch me outside. How about that? What we got over here, Steve?
Couple haters.
Speaking of couple haters, I heard him and Big Caston wore out their welcome at Ring of Honor.
But did they?
I don't know. That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. 'Cause, I mean, now, I don't know if you've watched them or not, but the promos or the shoots or whatever they're doing between Big Kaz, Enzo, and Tama Tonga, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
Here's my problem with those guys. I don't think that anybody, regardless of who you are, should ever believe your own hype. You know.
What do you mean, Steve?
Well,
Point
What
for
you mean,
Steve.
Steve?
yes. Nobody is so big that the show can't go on without them.
That's true.
That's right. We started without John Covey Cole.
That's exactly right. My point exactly. So
I actually found out, you saying that, I'll go ahead and throw out a spoiler alert. I found out today that this program that I run, it can be universal to other Macs as well. It doesn't have to be my Mac. So if Brian had a Mac and I couldn't make the show, we could dial it in there and he could do the show from there.
Well, that may happen.
Yeah.
But I believe that guys like Cass and Enzo are guys who, like Leo Rush, I'm sure Leo on your list.
We'll get to him in a little while.
Yeah, I mean, guys, no matter how much you do, no matter how great you are, whatever, don't ever believe your own hype.
The machine will continue without you.
That is exactly right. Unfortunately, in this thing called life. But so don't ever think that you're bigger than all the rest of it, John.
Absolutely. I'll try, Steve. I mean,
like Tim McGraw said, always be humble and kind.
And you should.
I would sing it for you, but Derek would jump on to it.
I would. And honestly, Steve's making a very valid point. Outside of wrestling, and this is coming from a guy wearing a Rolex right now.
But does he have a championship title over his shoulder right now? Because I do.
Derek.
Brian, how's Florida doing, man? I ain't even got to talk to you yet, man. How you doing, brother?
Man, Florida's always great.
I see the sun shining on your belt back here, man.
Yeah,
Kind of
big
glaring.
gold back there.
Yeah,
He's got Aqua Teen Hunger for us.
That's actually a painting that was done by my wonderful wife.
Yeah,
very cool.
You're like Frylock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very smart.
Yes, I would be Meatwad.
I was about to say, that was the show with Meatwad.
That was
right?
the show with Meatwad.
Oh, yeah, baby.
You would totally be Shake, John.
Yes, you would totally
Yeah, probably.
be Shake.
But that
Does
means
Shake
Derek
have
has
a
to be
championship
Carl.
title, by chance?
Hey, guys.
How do I get to be? Come on,
That's
come on,
only
come on.
only
You
one
didn't
left,
speak
man.
fast enough. I knew what was coming for me. It was either Carl or Meatwad. And, if I get a choice in it, I'll choose Meatwad, If I get the choice between... Oh, it's a nice flip-flops you got on there, Derek.
You referenced how good things are going for you at the moment, Steve.
Yeah.
That being said, I want to go ahead and start with our pros and cons this week like we always do because there was not a lot of great in wrestling this week, in my opinion.
Well, I think if anything great is probably going to come from the world of independent wrestling or some of the smaller companies because I was at Carnegie Hall Monday, didn't get a chance to watch Raw, watched both SmackDown in real time last night and then Raw. Whew. Guys, and those shows were in Lexington hosted Raw Monday night, and there was a house show in Huntington. And then SmackDown was in Columbus Tuesday night. Those crowds were dead.
Yeah.
So
If,
pros and cons outside the world of wrestling this week.
well, are we starting with pros?
Sure, let's go ahead and start with pros.
Okay, since you guys have nothing pro to talk about,
Hey, now.
does that mean I get to go first?
Don't just assume we have nothing to talk about now.
No. I just said
He's
I didn't
just-
see anything on Monday and Tuesday night on the national on cable that I thought was worthwhile.
There you go.
Everything good I saw came from Impact and down.
I was going to say, there's your problem. You didn't watch Impact.
Well, I watched enough Impact. I only saw bits and pieces of the Crockett Cup. But there always seems to be some good independent or smaller company wrestling every week in and week out. That stuff on Monday nights and Tuesday nights, guys,
It's getting old.
it's getting old fast. The crowds are showing it. Somebody doesn't understand. We'll go on. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Brian, go ahead and start with the pros, my friend. Where you at on this?
My pro is for the Impact pay-per-view, seeing Brian Cage finally realize his spot as the Impact heavyweight champion.
At what cost, though?
Yeah, he did injure himself, but still, it was pretty awesome. I'm a big fan of Cage, and seeing him walk out with the belt, even though I love Johnny Impact, it was time for him to take his spot in the company.
What kind of spot, Steve?
Oh man!
Not my liver spot.
I'll tell you what,
I
Brian
set
Cage
them up. I set them up.
I'll tell you what, bro.
That's
Not
6
my dog
weeks.
spot.
That's 6 weeks in a row or something.
Killing it.
Whoa.
I even got it in last week since you weren't here. I got it in last week.
He did.
This is where
Good.
Brian Cage is messed up, in my opinion. He needs to get him a Richie Acevedo, like I did, to do the dirty work for him to get that title. You know what I'm saying? That's what he needs to do.
You got Cuban assassin, my friend. The finger poke of death.
Finger post of doom. We got somebody calling in from New Jersey, it looks like.
Nice.
Hey, what's up? You're on with the Royal Ramble. Who we got?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Sal from New Jersey. How's everything?
Going swell, man. How you doing, brother?
All right, guys. I'm glad to catch another wrestling show, and I have one back here as well.
Awesome.
Been watching the WWE for quite a long time now. I'm talking about when Backlund was still champion, and I was at the Garden when he lost to the Sheik. And as I'm going back, and I really haven't watched because it's like, okay, can we do something different now? It's getting to that point again where it's not watchable. Raw, SmackDown, and I never liked the split brand, the shake-up, and now you got them delaying pay-per-views, and I think if Vince decides to finally step away and concentrate on the XFL, that Triple H will run it a little bit better, hopefully.
Well, if
like
Triple
he
H
does
has
with
showed us
NXT.
anything, in my opinion, if Triple H has showed us anything with NXT, he has a better grasp on what's going on, what the fans want.
Yes,
way more so
that is
than Vince
definitely
does.
more watchable. And this whole thing with Ambrose leaving, hopefully he comes back with the All Elite rumors, and everybody's got rumors going around with the guys leaving here and going there. And I don't know how long that company's going to last. And I hope it does, because WWE was better with competition.
Well, Steve, let me go ahead and bring you into this conversation. I know you have some WWE stock, and I've seen where it's been dropping.
Yeah. Last week was bad. It was the equivalent of the drop last year when they decided they would go to Saudi Arabia. And so it got up real high at about 100, and then last week WWE first quarter profits came out, and they were off about $20 million from what had been last year's first quarter, when the stock just kept climbing and kept climbing. So it dropped from about 99 to 83 in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
It took a beating. It dropped from
That's a
99
little
to
crazy, yeah.
83. So, hopefully, I mean, the investment companies are saying it's going to bounce back quickly, but if they don't get some better product in the ring soon.
Consistently. Well, let me cut you off right there. It's not so much the product in the ring. The wrestling's good, but it's the same old story. And I get
right.
it.
Because you got Becky versus Charlotte again, and then even though you switch Roman over, he's going after the Authority again, which was the storyline before.
Right.
Sal, before we let you off the phone, bro, what was your ultimate calm this week in the wrestling world? Or wait a minute, we're on pros, aren't we?
We're on pros.
Okay.
We're on pros now.
What is your pro from the wrestling world this week?
My pros.
Just one. I want one. I want your ultimate pro.
I definitely see Ricochet going a long way.
Okay.
If they do it right with him, he's definitely going a long way. The cons of okay, we saw this match already. Could you give me something different?
Yeah. It's been pretty repetitive. All right, Sal, we're going to hop off the line and keep rambling, brother. Appreciate you calling in,
Tell
buddy.
your friends about us, Sal.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for everything.
See you,
All right,
buddy.
have a great day.
You guys can also check us on iTunes if you don't get to catch the show live every week. You can check us out on iTunes, pretty much any of your major podcasting networks. See, that's what champions do, Derek. They make stuff like that possible. You know what I'm
John,
saying?
you are so full of yourself and looking at your own reflection in those glasses. You didn't even know what question to ask the guy on his pro and con, man.
That's because I got
You're
other stuff
so,
on my mind, okay?
Heavy
So
is the head that wears the crown.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
You guys are killing me this week. You guys are absolutely killing me this week.
I'm going to go ahead and go to Mr. Number 2, Derek Jones. What is your pro of the week?
You are now dubbed Mr. Number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Who does number 2 work for?
So, unlike John Covey Cole, I actually watch professional wrestling, not just sports entertainment, and I watch as much professional wrestling as I can. I don't just get handed things.
Real quick, I got to go to Facebook, Derek. I hope David Tebow's not talking about me. He said Tiger Bomb his ass. I hope you ain't talking about me, David.
Who else would he be talking about?
Brian, maybe. Go ahead, sorry.
You good over there?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'm the champ. I'm damn good.
Because I watch wrestling, I am straying away from the world of WWE. My pro comes from the Crockett Cup. It's the match between Marty Scurll and Nick Aldis. It's probably Nick Aldis' best match he's ever had, and possibly Marty's. I mean, Marty's had some real good matches in the past. He had a great match at All In with Okada, but it was unbelievable. The whole show was great, but that match just wrapped up everything. It had a good story, a good build. I mean, these guys have traveled the world together. They've got a long history. They could play off of each other. It was fantastic, and the in-ring story was great. Who
won? Nick Aldis won again?
No.
Is Nick Aldis still the NWA champ?
Yes.
And is he still as of today?
Nick Aldis won.
So he's still the champ.
Crockett Cup.
Gotcha. I didn't watch. I don't know.
But you know what he didn't do?
What's that?
He didn't just hand the ring announcer his belt and say, "Hey, congratulations."
I get it. Okay, I get it. Steve, what's your pro of the week?
My pro this week was going to be Derek's cosplay suit from CosCon this past
The Green
weekend
Ranger.
as the Green Ranger.
That was brilliant. I'll give him that.
He looked like $1 million.
He
looked like $1
did
million
look like
in
$1 million,
cash.
I'm telling you. But wrestling related, I got to give it out to the old school boys. Ricky Morton at 62 years of age doing a Hurricane Rana. I know that Derek doesn't like the old guys in the ring and that feeling of nostalgia and everything like that. I haven't gotten to see the entire match, just the Hurricane Rana and Cornette's call on it. I got to see about a 3 or 4 minute clip. But I'm gonna order that entire
I tell you what,
page.
we mentioned it on the show last week, but he put you over hard last week on the show.
Nice.
I did, 100%.
Thanks,
and
buddy.
just to clear that up, it's not that I don't like the old guys in the ring. I don't like guys that don't belong in the ring. If he's still hitting Hurricane Ranas, he belongs in a
That's
wrestling
fair.
ring.
That's fair.
But you got guys that can't move. They barely walk.
Yeah.
They do nothing but throw punches and an Irish whip and a clothesline and a float over,
Yeah,
and that's it.
In which case, and I didn't get to talk a whole lot about it, that angle that I helped Cornette with a couple weeks ago, they came up with a way to get Tracy Smothers and Bobby Fulton in the ring and not try to have some match where somebody was trying to catch a hip toss or whatever. It was a very simple that ended with a schoolboy and a quick 1, 2, 3.
Right.
You know, Tracy got a chance to come out there and just cut promos on me and Cornette, and he got to poke Bobby in the one good eye. He said it wasn't like they tried to wrestle a full-blown match.
Right.
Though. You know what I'm saying?
They knew
I
their
understand your
limitations and they kept it.
I understand.
Got another
your
call
distinction
coming
right
in,
now.
gentlemen. Hey, what's up? You're on with the Royal Ramble. Who we got? Hello. All right, then you get better service there, brother. We can't hear you. Or sister. Apologize.
All right.
Well, my pro, Derek, can you guess what my pro in the rest of the world is this week?
Considering you don't watch wrestling, no, I have no clue.
Well, see, this would be an opportunistic
Was it okay?
time.
I got it. Your pro was probably one of the answers you read off the paper last week that Brian wrote down for you.
No, it wasn't. It could very easily. I could use this opportunity to put myself over, considering I am the champion.
Why don't you
let me
take
get
your
this
phone call over there?
Hey, what's up? You're on with the Royal Ramble. Who we got?
Okay, I got it. Hey, what's up? This is Virgil.
Hey, what's up,
Hey,
Virgil? How you
Virgil.
doing, brother?
I'm fine. How you doing?
Hey, there's a free show in Madison, West Virginia this weekend. I'm just saying, bro. You ought to come on down and check it out.
I don't even know where the heck that is.
Anyway, what's on your mind, man?
I was just gonna get my pros this week.
Yeah, let's hear it, brother. What do you got?
I don't know if you want to say return, and this kind of has me asking a little bit of a question. Are we going to see Johnny Moxley in WWE?
I was actually going to wait and talk about this when we talked about the weekly news, but we'll go ahead and go there since we're here.
That's Virgil's kind of pro.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I think
a lot of folks have said on
look at Brian over there, that little shit-eating grin on his face. Listen here, pal. As soon as I seen that Jon Moxley promo, I said Brian was right and he was wrong at the same time. I think Dean Ambrose is done in WWE. You know what I'm saying? But to come out with a promo a couple days after Dean Ambrose is finished with the WWE, you don't think Moxley's coming to WWE now?
I don't want to I don't want to be called right because I think that I'm dead wrong. I think Dean Ambrose worked everybody, including his friends and the people he worked with, and he made everyone believe, including my inside source, that he was going to stay out of wrestling, and he lied to everybody, and now he's going to AEW as Jon Moxley.
No, he's not, because think about it, Brian. Think about it. The way Vince McMahon works, look what he did to Owen Hart for crying out loud when Bret Hart left. If Jon Moxley was actually going to AEW or Impact or Ring of Honor or whatever, he would not just straight up and lie to Vince McMahon like that, considering his wife still works there. He's not going to set his wife up
who said
humiliated or...
Who said that he lied to Vince McMahon?
And that's one reason why I still think that he has something to do. We're going to see some more of him. I really think that maybe like SummerSlam, Survivor Series, I don't know, one of the major pay-per-views, we're going to see Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns getting ready to have a big win. And here we're going to have Johnny Moxley, not Dean Ambrose. We're going to have Johnny Moxley come out.
WWE does not have the patience they had anymore, Virgil. I think you're right, on the right track, but I think it's going to happen sooner than that. Brian, you alluded to the dream match, AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. I think that is when we see Jon Moxley in WWE ring.
I disagree. First of all, I don't think that Vince gives a shit about Jon Moxley. The name Jon Moxley means nothing to Vince. And you could not convince Vince that Jon Moxley is more important than Dean Ambrose.
Hey, Virgil, we're going to hop off, man. Keep rambling with us, brother.
All right, man.
Hey, buddy.
And to finish what I'm saying is, why would Vince bring any attention whatsoever to AEW and Double or Nothing?
It's a swerve, bro. Got another caller calling in. What's up? You're on with the Royal Ramble. Who we got?
We got Big Mike in the house. I was wanting to chime in on the Jon Moxley situation.
All right, what's up, man? What do you think, Mike?
Hey, buddy, I think what's going to happen, I think Brian Resner's either right. I think he's going to go to AEW because the AEW is looking for a Lex Luger type moment back when he was started on Nitro. And also, think if not that, I think he can go back to
just hang up on him.
CCW.
Just hang up on him.
I don't know, Mike. It's possible, I guess. Did you see that I'm the first ever Royal Ramble champion, Mike?
You're the first ever Royal Rumble champion.
I'm not actually the first ever. Richie Acevedo won.
Well, I'm just glad anybody won except for Derek.
Hey.
I mean, because Derek can go back to his Sami Zayn stunt double business. And
Hey, Mike, buddy, it was really good competing against you in for the first ever Royal Rumble Championship. It was real fun when you was here.
They say, there's always next year. And I might bring a surprise with me. So, Derek, you better be ready, sir.
Are you actually going to watch some wrestling before you come? Will that be the surprise? You get with John Covey Cole and pay attention?
They call me the dictionary of independent and pro wrestling. So next year, I will be more ready than ever.
Just because your family calls you that doesn't mean they call you that.
Hey, Mike, we're going to keep rambling, brother. Appreciate you calling, man.
I appreciate you guys, buddy.
Ramble on, brother. But yeah, anybody else want to touch on the Moxley situation before we move on? Have mercy, we got another one coming in. You guys are wearing it out tonight. What's up? You're on with the Royal Ramble. Who we got?
I think it was Mike again.
Did he butt dial you?
Mike, did you
Mike
butt
Loving?
dial me? Okay.
No, you butt dialed him.
Hey, John,
Sir.
before we get another call, you need to start telling people to turn their feed down so that we don't hear ourselves.
It's Mike Loving we're talking about, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened with all three callers.
We've had 3 callers?
Yeah.
Wow, we blowing
New
up
Jersey,
tonight.
Mike,
See
and Virgil.
right there, Derek? That's ratings, Bubba. That's ratings. Huh?
You're welcome.
I was gonna say Steve's the only thing that's new. So,
John Moxley, gentlemen. Anybody else want to touch on that before we move on?
yeah. So there's no way John Moxley is going to WWE. If you have ever watched John Moxley, if you know anything about his history, his past, that is not a WWE character. That is not an in-ring WWE guy. That is maybe 10, 15 years ago against Cactus Jack somewhere, but that is not WWE now. He jumped over a barbed wire fence and ripped it down, carrying it with him, and that's what he's going to come out with, is barbed wire wrapped around his arm. He is a vicious,
but let me ask
vicious
you this.
character.
Everybody can agree that, I'm not going to say the WWE is in turmoil because I don't think it's to that point yet, but they're on a decline right now. Am I right? They are struggling to make something work. Am I right?
I haven't seen the ratings, so I don't know.
Monday's show was, who was it? Was it you that sent that to the group message, Brian? The worst
lowest rating ever.
Yeah.
It's trouble.
Yep.
But there could be other factors that go into a rating. I don't watch it Mondays. Typically, I watch Raw on Tuesdays sometimes because I record it.
They factor all of it in. It's, to include DVRs and TiVos and all of that stuff. It's just, man, it's really incredible. Here we are, and think about that. From years past, 3 years removed from WrestleMania, where there's usually still some juice on newly crowned champions or newly
Hang on
made,
a second. 3 years removed from WrestleMania?
I'm sorry, 3 weeks removed.
Okay, I was like, what? Wait a minute. Has it been that long?
3 weeks removed from this year's WrestleMania
Gotcha.
is what I meant to say. And 1 week removed from the brand switch. And like I said, those crowds were dead. Brian's telling me that the ratings are at an all-time low.
Well, honestly, I think the Superstar shakeup is the reason that the ratings are low, and we touched on it a little bit. They bring all these guys from SmackDown, and they put them in a match together. There was no shakeup. We've seen it over there. Now we're watching it over here. They just changed the color of the ropes.
But, they don't even do – you remember in years past you'd have all of the superstars for both brands, and there was like high drama and backstage talk going on and people trying to not go over to the other brand and da-da-da-da. There was absolutely none of that this year.
And not only that, but the following week they switched a couple people back, and it was like nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm. Right. It was the brand switch. Whoever did brand switch this year, it was horrible. But, I don't know what Mike Loving said, that AEW is looking for a guy to bring in. There's a number of guys I believe that AEW could bring in to really give it that. Who's at the top of the rival company? Sure. And bringing in Dean Ambrose / John Moxley is not. He wasn't your champion. That was kind of the allure of Luger, and the reason why I believe that my friend Mike Loving is wrong, and that is, when you brought Luger in, he was their last immediate champion, and there was a lot of talk, wasn't he? Hadn't he been WWE champion?
No, he's never been WWE champion.
With all that with Yokozuna and all that?
Never won it. Not one time.
Well, anyway.
My father used to call Lex Luger Lex Lick Me. Cracked me up every time.
Well, but anyway, you understand my point. He seemed like a top roster guy from the other company. Maybe AEW views John Moxley that way. I don't. Y2J and some other guys.
I think what you're thinking is the fact that everyone thought Lex Luger was going to be the champion. He was being pushed to the moon.
Right.
Everyone considered him the next champion.
Yeah.
And then boom, he showed up in WCW.
Right. So, instead of taking his run in the WWE in the mid '90s, he came to Nitro.
I'm gonna go ahead and go on to my pro, guys. Let's keep it moving here. My pro's kind of weird in some ways. But my pro, in a roundabout way, is Jeff Hardy getting injured, and I'll tell you why. I hate that he got injured, but it puts
made your pro an injury?
Hold on, hear me out. It's not so much that he got injured. It's the fact that Matt Hardy is a singles wrestler again. And with this Firefly Funhouse, King Max already put a thing out on Twitter there the other day talking about it. The sociopath, he doesn't taught him a word. I don't think WWE will do it, but if they would incorporate Matt Hardy and his son, King Maxwell, into Bray Wyatt's current storyline, I think that would be brilliant. I think it would be very entertaining. But
Can
that's just
I
me.
can I put a little spin on there?
Sure.
Bray Wyatt's thing was almost my pro, and it's just because it's really getting really dark, and it looks like it's really heading in an awesome direction. But if the WWE allows Matt Hardy to bring King Maxwell and all that ignorant stuff along with Bray Wyatt's thing, then you're just going to ruin it. You're going to 100% ruin it. Keep Matt Hardy and all that goofy crap away from Bray Wyatt, please.
Bray Wyatt is speaking to children. Allegedly.
He's speaking to a vulture puppet right now. Really? You want me to think that that's high art, Resner? Seriously?
Hey, I didn't say art. I said dark. I said we're going somewhere dark, and I think that it's going to be really cool.
Let me ask you a question. When was the last puppet show you saw that was really dark?
Yowie wowie.
I mean, if you go back and watch them again, even as kids, some of them things are a little twisted. I don't know why we let the kids watch these things. Some of them are a little twisted. But I kind of agree. I liked Bray Wyatt. It was almost my pro. You know, he said, I'll light the way, and it gets real dark if you let me in. Okay. And then he goes back to bubbly. It's starting to break through, but he's going to get real demented.
Pedophile character?
He doesn't need Matt Hardy.
Have King Maxwell get around Bray Wyatt in the shape he's in right now.
What, Steve? It might be wonderful.
But see, that they've done Bray and Matt. They need to keep them away from each other. They've done it,
and they don't know how to do broken.
Failed.
They don't know how to do the broken gimmick. The broken gimmick cannot be in WWE. We've seen that.
This David Tebow guy's wearing me out tonight. He says Tiger Ball in this shirt.
Which one's he talking about?
I guess he's talking about me.
He's got to be talking about you.
Yeah.
Well,
my question
Casey
is,
Mitchell
who is going to
said what Ben pointed out.
What's that?
How does Firefly Funhouse translate to the ring? Because you see a bunch of these stupid gimmicks that are okay in the back. No Way Jose is an okay gimmick till it gets to the ring.
Then what?
When was No Way Jose an okay gimmick?
Well, I mean,
I know what he's saying. It's kind of the same thing with Adam Rose. It was fun. It was entertaining. But once you got to the ring, then what? How are you going to keep that story going?
Fandango,
How are you going to keep that story going?
Okay.
So
can I tell? Here's the difference between No Way Jose, Adam Rose, Fandango, and this gimmick. And the difference is it's Bray Wyatt. The guy can go in ring.
Fandango is very good in the ring.
Yeah, you're right. Fandango is good in the ring, but Fandango has never been able to play a character like Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, but they don't let Fandango be good in the ring. They make him a joke.
What do you do? What are you doing at the ring with a buzzard puppet? What are you doing at the ring with a talking puppet of Abigail?
They're going to be hiding under the ring.
I want the buzzard to come out of the turnbuckle post and distract the opponents.
Be like Kane, Bray Wyatt to come out and bam, here comes the puppets.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our cons because it seems like we're kind of trending in that direction. Steve, you want to start with the cons this week, bro?
Too many to mention.
Well, there's a few.
I did not like. This is my con this week. I did not like the Miz versus Shane McMahon feud. Lord help us, it's bad enough on one night. Why do we have to have it on two? And, if it wasn't enough room, if there wasn't enough time to blow it off, and that's what the old timers used to call it, you have a blow off match. If WrestleMania and falling from a 25-foot scaffold wasn't a big enough blow off, what in the world do they expect it? I mean, I get that it's a cage match, but
Shane's coming off the cage.
We've seen him do that before,
Right.
though. But Miz versus Shane O'Mac took up 2 nights, not one, but 2 shows. I had to put up with that garbage, and that's my.
I got to go to this David Tebow guy. I got to message him after the show. He's all over it tonight. He says Derek Jones knows his shit. He may know his stuff there, David, but he is not the champion, if you know what I'm saying there, brother. Just letting you
Casey,
know.
what do you mean heel Shane? Most people universally agree that they like heel Shane the best.
I think face Miz is the problem. I think in that whole scenario, I don't like a face Miz.
That's what Brian has said all along, is that you can't do the Miz character as a face. And then why are you injecting Bobby Lashley into it? You know, I mean, you've got both. Do you not now in this Miz Shane O'Mac deal have both? No, I'm sorry, but Bobby Lashley.
They're bringing Bobby Lashley in because it's extremely hard to write for a really talented 6'3" guy who's built like a Greek god.
Who can't speak.
You just can't write for him. Yeah, it doesn't matter if he can speak or not.
But what I'm saying is, I don't understand why that gets injected into the Shane heel. And they've got it going on both right now because you've got Elias doing they're running the same exact angle, Elias and Roman Reigns with Shane involved as they're doing. Now you've got Bobby Lashley injected.
Hey, what's up, Landon? You're on with the Ramble. What's going on, brother?
Okay, I held on long enough. I can't take no more of this.
What's your con of the week? Is your con of the week Kofi Kingston still being the champion?
No, that's not my con. My con is you. That's another story.
Me?
Yes, you, John Covey Cole. You are the con.
Don't stop there. Tell us how you really feel.
Go ahead.
Eric Jones is the champ. I don't care what anybody says. You are not a champ. You are a paper champ like Batista. You ain't that good. My pro is, but here's my pro. My pro is John Moxley. Love it. I'm so excited for it. That's my pro. Con, John Covey Cole. That's my con.
Ramble on, Landon. Appreciate you calling.
Now, Casey makes a very good point there. If we can, guys, this is she is spot on, and that is, once again, much like the Superstar Shakeup, you got no rhyme or reason. You got Alexa
Hold on
Bliss.
a second. She says that no one really earned their spot. What kind of spot, Steve?
Okay, listen.
These jokes write themselves. Sorry, guys.
They do.
Before this goes too far, I want you guys to know I was completely being facetious when I said that no one can write a story for Bobby Lashley. I was trying to be sarcastic, as in like any writer in the world could write a good story for a guy like that. But for some reason, we just throw him in anywhere because it's just ridiculous. That I just wanted to put that out there before anyone thought that I really thought that it was hard to write a story for Bobby Lashley.
I got you.
But I think Casey's point's great. They just kind of nonchalantly did that whole who were the 8 or 10 competitors, whatever, in the Money in the Bank.
It's like they forgot to do anything for it, and then they're walking around backstage. Hey, you guys are all in catering together. Y'all want to be in Money in the Bank? Awesome. Make a promo.
Well,
here's something that you do every single time that there's a Money in the Bank. What I always do is I say, because a lot of people would think of this like, who's going to get a shot at the title? Well, that's not really that important. What's important is who can benefit from having the briefcase gimmick for 6 months to a year. And when I look at those two setups, I don't see anybody who can really benefit from that gimmick.
The only person that I see there they'll stand anything at all, and it's only because of his valet, is Andrade. Selena Vega will sell that briefcase.
That would be okay, but I disagree with you there, gentlemen. I think as much as I didn't like this guy, and I still don't like him, but it's okay because he is good at what he does, I think it would be okay to put the briefcase back on Baron Corbin. I think people already don't like him. Why not get him more heat?
Please,
he retired Kurt Angle. Let's get him more heat. You know what I mean? Why not?
I had on a 3-piece suit with a vest earlier today.
Did you feel like you worked at Hot Topic?
I felt like I managed a Hot Topic. And
it's go away
Money in
heat.
the Bank would be on Baron Corbin.
It's go away heat. It's not good heat.
Right.
I don't feel.
Brian's exactly the kind of heat. The kind of heat that he's got is not the kind that any wrestler wants.
It's not the kind that's going to heat up your burrito once it gets cold, right?
Yeah. Now, Ben Cliff says McIntyre, fellow Brit, would be a good winner for me if he won the briefcase. I think that Ben Cliff is correct because he's the kind of guy that it would scare you. Drew McIntyre having that briefcase would be the kind of guy that would scare you if you just, did a long match or had a tough match or whatever. you'd be worried about
I
somebody
like the whole
cashing that
heel on
in.
heel dynamic him and Baron Corbin had on Raw. That was nice.
Yeah.
Because it shows you that they're wanting to build McIntyre as I don't care who you are, what you are, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
The biggest tragedy of the Money in the Bank picks was the fact that they put Randy Orton in the match instead of Aleister Black. Aleister Black, how did Aleister Black not get in the Money in the Bank? But
Ricochet in catering.
But Ricochet did. It makes no sense not to put Aleister Black in there and having an opportunity. You have an opportunity to have that face-to-face Aleister Black, Ricochet. They were just tag team partners. Now they're going to be facing off against each other for the Money in the Bank. It just made sense for Aleister Black to be there, and then they put Randy Orton in there for no reason.
I'm not laughing at you, Brian. I'm laughing at this joker on the comments here on Facebook.
Let's hear it.
David Tebow still talking smack. I'm going to have to find him and take him out. He said, John, your face is so ugly, your hair ran from it. You ugly dink tougher.
Do the next one, too.
Pubic hair peanut head.
Well,
that's not very nice, sir.
I feel like there's a shirt to be made there.
Derek, what's your pro of the week? Or con of the week?
I was going to say, if I need a new pro, it's going to be that comment. But so my con of the week was almost going to be Monday Night Raw as a collective until you answered the phone from our buddy.
Landon?
No, Mike Loving.
Oh.
I don't even know why he didn't just hang up on the guy. Mike Loving's 4-second phone call was worse than all of Monday Night Raw, which is tough to beat.
I won't spend too much time there, but to each their own.
Ben Cliff says Robert Roode should be in the Money in the Bank ladder match, in my opinion.
I seen that. I was ignoring it for a reason because this is my con of the week. I'm going to go ahead and step in, Steve. My con of the week is not the fact that he's not in this ladder match. My con is that he's not on the show this week. Why? You give him a mustache last week.
It's a glut of...
They're letting the beard grow back.
It's a glut of talent.
Ridiculous.
It's a crazy amount of talent. And, you remember the mid-'90s and how they were doing those. What were they running, Brian? I know the ratings were being done in 15-minute increments. That's when they were judging. And both wrestling companies, WCW and WWF, both were gauging what kind of response they got in that 15-minute rating segment. And if you wanted to get back to that kind of pace, you've got a 3-hour show. They review every match now. Like that, if you tuned in after that commercial, we got to show you exactly what just happened before we went to commercial break. They've never done that before. Always before, if you remember the Monday Night Wars, it was very fast-paced. And that fast pace allowed a 3-hour show like Monday Nitro to put a lot of people on it in the 8 o'clock hour, the 9 o'clock hour, and the 10 o'clock hour. And they could be doing the same exact thing with Raw with all the talent that they've got. Just boom, match, promo, boom, match, promo. Just boom, 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 boom. And they're not doing it. And guys like Robert Roode, who got this new porn stash, whatever that is going on, you don't know anything about it yet. We spent 15 minutes watching the Revival shave each other's backs and then talk about it.
No, I know what happened with Robert Roode. What they decided, they didn't bring him out last week because they've decided to change his name to the Rick Rude Experience, and they're going to debut that next week.
And then the week after that, he's going to be
they got to get him some airbrush tights now.
That would really do wonders for him, actually.
Yeah. I'd put Zelina Vega's face on the crotch of my tights and come out.
It's a great idea.
I'm tore out of hell. This Tebow guy's got me tore up. whose turn are we on? Whose turn are we on here?
Well,
it's not the champ's turn. The champ now went.
Brian's turn to
turn.
your con.
Okay, your con. Go ahead.
My con, no Leo Rush. That ruined Raw for me. No Leo Rush really ruined Raw for me.
Brian, I'm going to tell you what, brother. I want you to hold that thought, and we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back, and we're going to talk about that more in depth. We'll be right back.
Since 2001, drug companies dumped 1 billion opioid pills in West Virginia, causing over 3,000 overdose deaths and thousands of babies born addicted by no fault of their own. I'm attorney Stephen New. If you're the grandparent or guardian of a child born with neonatal abstinence syndrome, call me. I'll help you seek just compensation.
Call the law offices of Stephen P. New at 1-844-BAD-PILLS before time runs out.
All right, guys, we are back, and Brian has left the building. I don't know where he went. I guess
The
I
real
done,
Slim
run him off.
Shady, please stand up. May I have your attention, please?
We're going to have a problem here.
Sorry, Derek.
But back to what he was saying, I'll go ahead and go there, and we'll talk about it a little bit. It's pretty popular in wrestling news this week. I, for one, could care less. There's so much going on in the WWE, I'm not going to miss a little Leo Rush in my life. Was he entertaining? At times. But it never made sense to me. You got this guy behind this monster of a man, Bobby Lashley.
I think that having Lashley have a valet or a manager makes sense because he
I agree
can't
with that.
talk.
He's not a good talker.
If you
but I don't
look
think
at
it
him,
should have
he
been
looks
Leo
like
Rush.
$100 million. Bobby Lashley does, honest to goodness. And like Rez said, he can wrestle a broomstick as far as that goes. Help me, he cannot speak as is evidenced by his conversation with The Miz. He was referring to himself.
My man Brian would disagree with you. He said that he did some pretty good promo work in Impact. What didn't you say that before, Brian?
Did I say who did good promo work?
Bobby Lashley.
Did he do
No,
good promo work in Impact?
I didn't necessarily say he did good promo work. He just did better promo work than he had done previously in WWE.
Well, it's one of those things that if you do something repetitively, eventually you're going to get decent at it.
I mean, so can we agree that Lashley needs a manager? Now, they're calling Leo a hype man, and he comes out there in a certain fast way of speaking. And all.
I hate that little laugh he does. It
Right.
drives me nuts.
Yeah. So,
Now, if
I
he
mean,
had a Tony Atlas, I'd love it. Love it.
yes. But anyway, I think he was one of those ones that started believing his own hype. He, according to the backstage rumors, he talks about himself nonstop. Never cares about anybody else's career, their bookings.
What are you trying to say,
trajectory of
Steve?
Their career. I don't know. I'm just saying that being self-absorbed can lead to self-destruction.
Okay, but Brian, this was your con. Do you care to defend your buddy Leo Rush here?
Leo Rush is awesome, and he needs to be there. I mean, his promos. I mean, he as far as on the mic, when it comes down to when it comes down to who's the best on the mic, you got Paul Heyman, and you got Leo Rush. I mean, I don't understand how anyone could have anything
Are you
bad
really
to say.
putting Leo Rush in the same conversation as Paul Heyman?
I am. I'm very much so am.
Good Lord, what kind of peyote they got down there in Florida?
Very funny. Leo Rush is the man, and he's proven it. I mean, he's no Eli Drake, but he is Leo Rush, and Leo Rush. I mean, obviously, okay. Let's see this. Leo Rush wasn't on Raw last week, and Raw had the lowest rating of all time.
And Bobby Roode wasn't there either. You think that?
Yeah,
had something to do
but
with
Leo Rush was on the Raw before, right?
it? Yeah.
So maybe they decided they didn't want to watch Raw because we didn't know he wasn't not going to be on Raw.
You're not a Leo Rush fan either?
No, not even a little bit.
Well, I got to start liking the guy now if you don't like him.
Not even a little bit.
I don't understand how anyone couldn't like him. One reason, he's tremendous in the ring.
I like him, Brian. Don't get me wrong. I like Leo Rush. He is very phenomenal talent. He is great on the microphone. He's a great wrestler. But there's only so many spots. Yes, I said spots, Steve.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
The main roster, and you're wasting it on Leo Rush. I'm sorry.
I think as Bobby Lashley's manager, I don't have a problem with that being the spot. Jim Cornette is big on Leo Rush. When he was previewing the Raws leading up to WrestleMania, Leo Rush, when he was doing those matches with Ricochet and what's the other guy?
Black.
Aleister Black, and then the match with Finn Balor as well. Jim Cornette was all big on Leo Rush and what he added to it and things like that. Cornette just thinks they're completely misusing the Leo Rush
So
character.
Cornette still watches the WWE product?
He only for the purposes, only for limited purposes, he'll watch 2 or 3 weeks like leading into WrestleMania because he doesn't want to be out of the angles and then when you're out of the angles leading up to it, and then you're going to have a show where you talk about it.
Makes sense.
I mean,
makes
to
sense.
Jim's credit, he'll watch 3 weeks worth of Raw and SmackDown so that he's able to speak somewhat intelligently that following week about the WrestleMania matches.
I want to point something out here, Derek. Michael Loving says if Derek don't like Leo Rush, he don't know wrestling. So he ain't got a problem with me not liking Leo Rush. You're the one who's got a problem with not liking Leo Rush.
The guy can't spell.
Did you spell your name wrong again?
Well, that's the first time I think he's ever spelled it right. But the guy can't spell. He has no sentence structure. And when he was here in studio, he didn't know wrestling. So I could care less what Mike Loving thinks.
In his defense, in your defense even, and Richie Acevedo's defense, and every other member that has been in the Royal Rumble the last 2 years, that guy right there in Florida has some damn hard questions. I don't care what you guys say. I know wrestling, but a lot of what he asks, I'm like, huh? What? Huh?
No, I don't disagree with that whatsoever.
So you agree that I know wrestling?
No.
Oh.
But I would say most of the lineup would have definitely been able to answer the questions that Mike Loving got wrong. There were 3 tiers of questions. There was the hard questions, there were the really hard questions, and then there was the soft blows for Mike Loving that Brian created, and he couldn't even answer those.
All right, guys, let's move on here.
Okay, wait. Before we move on, Leo Rush.
Are you still on this guy?
I will say this. You know where the WWE is messing up with guys like Leo Rush is you've got a 3-hour TV show, and there's plenty of stuff on that 3-hour TV show that sucks. Why are you putting your cruiserweights on 205 Live to begin with? Now, I understand having 205 Live as a show that's dedicated just to cruiserweights, but there is no reason why we do not see the Cruiserweight Championship on Raw every single week. The Cruiserweight Championship should kind of be like a television title of sorts to where we see it defended every Monday night. Every Monday night.
I love you, brother, and I respect you, but you're wrong, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. And you're wrong too, Brian, but I had to go ahead and let Steve know he was wrong since he already smacked me, as per Mr. Can't get a job in the NFL, Mr. Tebow over there. If you have your champions on other shows, the whole idea of different brands mean nothing.
Is 205 Live really a brand?
Technically, it's a brand.
The only person that's watching it is me and Derek, and I don't even know if Derek's still watching it.
I still watch it.
Well, good. You should, and it's a great show. But when it comes down to it,
is sit home and watch wrestling and
and
cosplay as little Green Rangers.
Listen to me. Jokes aside, if you want to get this show over, if you want people to watch 205 Live, then you want to put 205 Live on display on Raw. Why would you
agree.
not?
And it's also incentive for the 205 Live guys when they say, hey, if we kill our show that's streaming on the network, then we're going to get a 30-minute block or a 40-minute block, whatever, on Raw. Go to the 8 o'clock hour.
If you take a 30-minute block, multiplied by a 40-minute block.
And divide by the square root of the hypotenuse.
I mean,
my point is that could be incentive for those cruiserweights to think, all right, I want to be seen, do your
What about an incentive for our audience? Our audience needs an incentive. Eric Bischoff single-handedly took the cruiserweights in WCW and made them a big part of the show, and it worked. Why would you take that tool that you have and not use it?
Right.
Well, and a lot of times Bischoff would use the cruiserweights to open the show because they're high energy and they're exciting.
Sure, yeah.
They put 205 Live on after SmackDown once everybody's leaving and everybody's tired. Nobody wants to watch it.
Question real quick. This just popped in my head. When was the last time you seen WWE show open with a match like that? Instead of doing a 15, 20-minute promo.
They always open with a segment.
But Nitro always opened with a segment too, and then we seen the cruiserweights. It was a first hour thing.
I agree with Brian. I think you set up your biggest. Here's the way it ought to work, and the way it did work during the Monday Night War era. You opened with an angle about your biggest story of the night, whatever it was. And tonight's main event, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be whatever came out of that first angle. Many times now at WWE, whatever that is, You don't wait a couple of hours, 2.5 hours to get it. You get it right then.
Sure.
You can kick off with a title match or, whatever, and that really irks me.
Do you think that Cedric Alexander would be basically a nobody that nobody knows if he would have been showcased on Raw when he was the champ? No, people would know exactly who he is. And they would know, hey, he lost the Cruiserweight Championship, and now he's going on to other things on Raw. And it would be a whole different story for Cedric Alexander. But instead, now he's a jobber. It's not good.
I'm so sorry, bro.
Let's move forward, gentlemen. Brock is reportedly retiring from the WWE at WrestleMania 36. Dana White said that Brock Lesnar said he was retired from MMA. Do you guys feel like I do and think that this is just their way of working everybody or trying to work everybody?
No.
No?
I think he gets...
You think he's still going to... he's obviously booked at the Saudi Arabia event. We know that's a thing.
Right.
Are we going to see more Brock Lesnar after that, or is he going to get his big money and then go fight?
Who knows?
They
could see him, Nathan England, on this day, Big Papa Pump taught us how to
22 and a third % chance
That's
Nathan
right.
England's watching the show. And if you multiply that by David Tebow's inability to do anything in life by 42.3769% of a chance. Sorry, Steve, go ahead.
Oh man, this guy, I like him. I just think Lesnar's going to still come around, collect a paycheck from WWE. It's not going to be a regular schedule. I don't think he cares anything about the titles, but he's probably done in MMA.
I hope not. I really want to see him and Cormier go at it so I can tell Lesnar I was right when Daniel Cormier taps him out.
They said that he did his testing before he announced his retirement, so I feel like
he failed.
I feel like he failed and said, I'm probably never going to get back to that point that I need to be because I like the juice a little too much. So I'm gonna go do what I do over here.
I hear you.
Vince
Well, we all
back
know
for
that
things like this Saudi thing.
Yeah.
We all know that Brock's goal is to make so much money that he doesn't have to do anything ever again. That's always been Brock's goal, and Brock has never once acted like that wasn't his goal. So, our days with Brock Lesnar are numbered. They have always been numbered. Brock wants to sit at home and hang out with Sable, and that's what he's going to get to do.
And farm.
You blame him?
And farm.
He likes to farm.
I don't know what Lyndon's problem is tonight, but he says Lyndon, Tebow, and Derek Jones versus John Covey Cole in a 3-on-1 handicap match for the Royal Rumble title. How's that going to work, Lyndon? Whoever gets the pinfall is the champion, or what? What do you think?
He just wants anybody but you to have that title.
Steve, help a guy out here. They are teaming up on me bad here, man.
Look. Ever since that whole finger poke of death with Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan, I've had a sore spot with me with people getting belts they didn't.
What a dog spot was it? Jeez.
Not their liver spot.
I can't win for Richie winning.
Sunspot.
Let's move on.
Soap spot.
Maybe this is a reason as to why we didn't see Robert Roode on Raw. Joe Ryan says his time on the Indies are finally done. It's being reported that the WWE has either made him an offer or is going to make him an offer to keep him away from AEW. Do you guys think we'll see Joey Ryan in WWE?
No, I don't. You see him every week on Being the Elite. I think the Khans can offer him the same thing that Vince can offer him. I think that he's too entangled with those guys, and he knows that he won't be abused. His character, it'll stay intact.
What you're saying is Tony Khan will let him go around and flip people around by their peckers. Is that what you're saying?
It's called the U-Pornplex, and he will let him do it if that's what he wants to do.
AEW,
Question is,
But
I
really like that they're building it up and they're making Joey Ryan a hot topic.
No, that's Baron Corbin,
That's
manager.
gimmick infringement.
Right.
Go over there,
Sorry. I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
I know you're not a huge Joey Ryan fan, Steve. How do you feel about that?
I hate him.
You think we'll see him in WWE, though?
Listen, one of the things I loved about Raw, one of the few things I loved about Raw, is you had the women's tag match with Sane and Asuka versus two jobbers. They even made fun. The Iconics made fun of the jobbers.
Iconic?
I love enhancement talent. And I love when enhancement talent gets used. My point is I don't think Joey Ryan's even good enhancement talent. And
correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he work for WWE before?
Yep.
Yes.
He had a cup of coffee in the WWE
thought so.
for about a minute, and he couldn't cut it then, and there was a reason. It's because he's not WWE material. And absent the dick flip, he ain't got nothing going on. And you can say that the cons might let him do that dick flip. That's fine, or the U-porn, whatever. But U-pornplex.
You're like a little teenage boy over there,
Right.
Derek. Yeah, he's flipping him out
Right.
as Peter.
Beavis and
Okay, now hold on now, hold on
I'm
now,
Mr.
hold on
Vandries
now.
in here, and Beavis and Butthead
Hold
are
on
on
now.
either side of me.
Every week, even Richie made a comment about it last week. Every week we're on the show, John has to mention penis in some shape or
I
form.
can't stand him.
Well, but anyway, they could bring him in. The cons may let him. TNT and TBS aren't going to.
I thought about something today, Brian. I don't mean to put us over, but I'm going to because that's what I like to do. We had 4, or was it 3 or 4 SCW shows last year?
4.
Okay. Well, out of those 4, we brought in a couple names. Robert Strauss and
Shane. Hurricane Shane.
Hurricane Shane Helms. And there was others also, but those guys are working for WWE now, so that makes me feel pretty good. Oh, we did pretty good last year. And we didn't have to bring in no $400 Peter Flipper either.
$400 Peter Flipper. Okay.
There's your shirt, Steve.
That's a shirt. I
right.
can't disagree. That would be a
That's
good
Okay.
shirt.
shirt.
If you know what, if
She
you
works
want
at
to
Southern
see,
X.
you go get sued, Steve.
You
Good
leave
thing
my
you're a
cousin
lawyer.
alone.
Good thing you're a lawyer. Here's
I'm
here's
friends
a
with
thought.
the owners. They're from Gilbert.
Okay. So I don't even know where to go there. I had something.
Resner's
of
just seeing
substance.
flashlights in the
Oh yeah,
in
here
the
we go.
sky
Here we
going that
go.
right there.
Here we go. Joey Ryan. You want to see Joey Ryan do some cool stuff? Watch his stuff on Lucha Underground.
Joey Ryan stays booked.
Joey Ryan is talented.
Then why does he have to do this horrible gimmick with his
Where they
downstairs?
flip 10 people over.
Why?
Okay, let me ask you this. How many people, it's not just this podcast that's talking about Joey Ryan. It's every podcast that's talking about Joey Ryan. You got Jim Cornette going on big 2-hour rants about Joey Ryan, and everybody, either you love him or you hate him. And that is what makes a good talent in professional wrestling. And you know what? I don't necessarily agree with the U-pornplex. I don't think that it's necessarily that great of a
I'm
move.
not going to call it that. It's the Peter Flipper. That's what it's
Well,
called.
whatever you call it, it's not that great. Yes, I think when he came out at All In with the guys in penis suits, that was ridiculous. But I can't hate on the guy. He is over. There are people who like him. There are people who hate
Hang on
him.
a daggone second here. What in the hell is he talking about, Derek? Lyndon Childers says, let's not forget about his boobplex. What is that?
It was similar to the U-pornplex,
What he did
but
with
it was
chicks?
a little different. And that's when he was part of the world's cutest tag team with Candice LeRae. Joey Ryan, or
So she would suplex her friends by the boobs and.
What
if you
my
really
point is,
so if you really want to see good Joey Ryan and you don't want to see the U-pornplex, go back and watch him when he was going through TNA Gut Check,
Peter Flipper.
and he did his segments with Taz, and they brought him into TNA. That was some of the best Joey Ryan you'll ever see.
I'm gonna take heed about your point there, Brian, and move on. I'll stop talking about Joey Ryan.
you're just focusing on the wrong thing.
Well, he keeps having everybody grabbing by it, so how can I not focus on it? Pentagon Jr. could have
Stop being a meat gazer, John. Stop being a meat gazer.
We called them bone hawks in the Army. When you were showering with 30 other men, they were referred to as bone hawks, and you were told from day one what not to be. Don't volunteer for anything. Don't be a bone hawk when you go to the shower with 30 other men.
Duly noted. Pentagon Jr. could have injured his knee during the Impact taping this week. I don't know if you guys seen this or not, but the referee and others helped him to the back. Derek, I know you're more entwined with what I like to call independent wrestling, if it's not WWE or Impact I consider independent, even though it's not. Do you think this is a shoot? Or do you think this is?
I think it's a work because the Lucha Brothers are cutting ties with all of the companies that they're currently with. So I think this is part of their way to kind of fade out a little bit
Makes sense.
because they're going to be exclusive to AEW.
Okay, makes sense.
And they'll be. When do they go exclusive to AEW, Derek?
25th of May, probably at the.
That's when
Double or Nothing?
they're at Double or Nothing, but I don't think that's their exclusive point. I think it'll fall sometimes
I
after.
tell you what I'm going to do
with
and then
Fight for the Fallen.
I'll message you because I'll see whether or not they're even being talked about for the big July 5th show of MLW in Chicago. If they're not being promoted for that, if they're not being promoted for the Chicago show and the New York show in July and August, then you'll know that by July and August they're exclusive.
Chris Jericho says that the AEW TV announcement is coming very soon. I hope they hurry up and announce it because I'm anxious.
Guys, you'll know this is the real deal then, and it's not just going to be a T-shirt company, Brian. I mean, if they start getting weekly programming, and you've got guys like Jericho and Jim Ross out in front of this right now, and I tell you how I know that it's the real deal. WWE stock trackers are tracking AEW's movement. So if I pull up my stock app here and click on WWE, down to 82. My goodness. But if you go and you look, All Elite Wrestling is getting reported on the WWE stock app. Talking about Jericho signing over there, profiling the rival billionaire.
Styling and profiling? I know a little something about that. I ain't got a Rolex, but I got something else, you know what I'm saying? Derek, how you doing? Now I got a Rolex. I got a Rolex and a Royal Rumble Championship. Merry Christmas to me. But
I brought dinner to you.
Brought dinner.
This evening
I'll
for
tell you
the
what,
anniversary
it's a
party.
beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'll tell you what, thanks, Brain.
All Dickie's Barbecue all the way over to you.
How do you guys feel about this? Dean Malenko leaving the WWE after 8 years. He's also booked for StarCast 2 in Vegas. Do you think we'll see him in All Elite Wrestling?
I think it would be good for All Elite Wrestling. I don't know that it's good for Malenko. I feel like he was probably pretty comfortable where he was, but
Is Arn going to All Elite?
Heavily insinuated.
If All Elite starts to pluck off guys like Arn and Dean Malenko and guys like that, you'll also know that it's the real deal. I'll tell you, I saw Dean Malenko going to New Mexico last year. He was exhausted with that road schedule.
Oh, I can imagine.
He was flying out of. I was going from Charleston to Atlanta to New Mexico, and they had a show that night in Albuquerque, and so he was over there planning all the matches and the finishes. He knew I was a fan because I'd already bothered him on the plane trip. But anyway,
excuse me, Mr. Malenko. Excuse me, sir.
Hey, can we talk?
Hey, sir, is anybody sitting here?
Holtz? Yeah. So and it's just so happened I was just sitting across the aisle from him, and he told me that the travel was exhausting. You know, he had to leave home that morning, you know, catch like a 11 o'clock whatever flight, fly out to Albuquerque, sit there, work the entire time on his laptop, and then go straight to the arena and work that night. So,
either one of you gentlemen want to drop a Dean Malenko anything in there about Dean Malenko?
I don't want to talk about Dean Malenko, but I would like to drop some, since we've brought up AEW like 4 times and we haven't said the main thing about AEW that's out there in the world. I'd like to be the one to drop that news story.
all right, go ahead.
Cody Rhodes' promo literally gave me chills.
That was almost my pro this week.
It really, you know, if I would have been thinking about it, it would have been my pro. Cody Rhodes' promo really, I mean, like, I'm like, you know, and I've been kind of, you know, joking, calling them a T-shirt company, things like that. AEW with that promo excited me. And that I'm excited. I was excited when I seen Dustin Rhodes' promo. Cody Rhodes' promo brought it to beyond 10, like the movie Spinal Tap. They put it 11. 11 is a little higher than 10. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm at an 11 of excitement for AEW because of Cody Rhodes' promo. It was incredible, like absolutely incredible.
But it wasn't. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good. But do that live, and then we'll talk. Anybody can sit and write. Well, I guess not anybody can't look at the WWE, but with enough time and enough, with enough time, you could write a good promo.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it
was
they're
good. It was good.
They're laying down what you love, John, which is story, and they're laying down a story that I can solidly get behind.
The only thing that I would really love to see out of this whole thing, which I don't think they're going to because this new social media age of wrestling, John Cena not turning heel because of the Make-A-Wish Foundation is a prime example. But things that are working, seems like wrestlers do not want to sway away from that. But anyway, I could talk about that forever. What I'd like to see is Dustin Rhodes win this match with the help of the Young Bucks, with the help of his All Elite boys. Have them turn on Cody to join Dustin. I'd love to see that.
I mean, that's
it's easy, right?
Right. But that's a possibility, and that's I've wondered whether or not Dustin at age 50 is going to try and keep a job. I mean, he's age 50. No, hey, don't get me wrong. And Brian knows because he goes back to that era with me.
People know how old F he is.
They don't know who the F I am. But, you want to talk about early 90s, the natural Dustin Rhodes, and he's about 22 years old. He was just fantastic. And, and then he comes a few years later and he's got this weird Gold Dust gimmick, and it finally gets over. And
Gold Dust Piper was gold.
Gold
no
Dust
pun
Piper.
intended.
It really was.
I'm on a different page than you, Steve, because honestly, the natural Dustin Rhodes never resonated with me.
I really liked the natural Dustin Rhodes because it was a link back to Dusty for me in an era that seemed like it wanted to be moving past Dusty.
It always seemed like the generic Dusty to me. And I never really liked it.
Hold on a second, Brian. Are we not even going to acknowledge what Brian just did there? That was brilliant wordplay. He said that the natural Dustin Rhodes didn't resonate with Resner. Come on, guys.
Work
with me here.
All right.
I am a wordsmith. This is not anything new. But the fact of the matter is that Goldust didn't have to finally get over. Goldust was over from day one. The only thing that put a wrench in the spokes of Goldust was the WWE writing team. When they had to pull the rug out from under him and make him a joke, that's when it became
with all the different gimmicks.
Yeah, and really when it came down to it, Goldust could have been the world heavyweight champion.
Easy.
Easy. I mean, he could have easily been the world heavyweight champion.
And then you had the personal life stuff going on, It's that
All
stuff.
right, guys, let's move on here. We told you guys this week we were going to talk about what was the best Shawn Michaels match of all time. A lot of people say that there's not even a debate. I beg to differ. He's had a lot of great matches. We're going to go ahead.
I brought 10.
Of course you did. I asked you to bring one, and you bring 10. That's what you do. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to bounce around the table.
I misread that. I thought it said top 10 Shawn Michaels matches. I brought it down from 20. I don't know.
Old, new Jones and Resner are the new Four Horsemen. I guess that makes Rich Quick, J.J. Dillon. So I'm fine with that. Somebody called me Earl Hebner earlier. I don't know.
You screwed Brett.
You selling fake merchandise.
Screwed Brett. But anyway, speaking of groups like that, somebody posted a picture today with Rude, the Revival, I think it was Sasha Banks as the new Dangerous Alliance, and it was like it might have been no speak English. What's
Nakamura?
Nakamura as Muta and Rick Rude and that group that was the old Dangerous Alliance. They were looking at Sasha Banks.
Muta wasn't in the Dangerous Alliance.
He was on the cover. It was a cover of a PWI where it said, could this be the new Dangerous Alliance? And it had Muta in a fictional group of who would you like to see be the Dangerous Alliance. And that's what this post was as well. As, could you put a new Dangerous Alliance together with Sasha Banks, the Revival, Bobby Roode, and Nakamura? I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, that's exactly what Robert Roode needs is a female valet to really set off the Rick Rude thing. And I think that with Brock sitting at home, having Paul Heyman be the manager of a Dangerous Alliance would be brilliant. I mean, it would be absolutely brilliant. And the Revival would fit perfect. Having the Revival in there, Bobby Roode, and there's a lot of people that could fill right into those other two spots. It could be awesome.
It could be awesome. But like I just told you guys, come on. Help me out here.
All right.
What was the best Shawn Michaels match of all time? Steve, I want you to give me your number one. We'll bounce around. Everybody give their number one.
I'm going to be a total hypocrite. All right? But the only good thing about a hypocrite is one who will acknowledge that he is a hypocrite. You all know that I think that Benoit should be wiped from the annals of wrestling history. But that triple threat match.
It was good.
At WrestleMania 20, I don't know that that's not right up there best triple threat match.
Can I respond
It may have been
to his?
Shawn Michaels' greatest moment, in my opinion.
Well, I'd like to respond to yours and say the Backlash triple threat was just as good, if not better.
Mm-hmm. So that WrestleMania 20 triple threat.
Fair enough. Derek Jones.
So
I know you probably wasn't born yet back when Shawn Michaels was wrestling, but
he was a part of this group called the Rockers in the AWA once upon a time, and they were trying to gimmick infringe off the Rock and Roll Express.
And they did it very well.
They
made a lot of money.
They were over and made a lot of money in the AWA.
I like how John covered Cole. I don't think you're a whole lot older than I am, John. I just still look good.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is,
That's what David Tebow said.
You don't look as good as I do, as I'm saying.
David Tebow thinks.
Tebow's got a hard on for me. I don't know what his deal is.
Scrotum head.
All right, forget Tebow. What's your favorite match, Derek Jones?
So when people ask me questions about what's your favorite match of this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy, most people always want to think of the match where they had the most offense and did the most pretty moves and things like that. I'm the complete opposite. I want the match where the guy looks like he takes a beating, because that shows his true talent is how well he sells. In my opinion, that's where you find true wrestling and true imagery in a ring.
I agree 100%. Usually that don't happen, Derek, but look at some of the greats that people claim. Ric Flair,
right?
Great seller.
Yes.
Shawn Michaels, great seller.
Right. So if you want to talk about his best match, let's talk about Bad Blood 97, Hell in a Cell. Gets his bell rung from post to post all night long.
That's got to be Kane.
You've got this new structure. You've got Kane's involvement. He debuts. He rips the cage door off, but the beating that Shawn takes that match, just it speaks volumes, and to me, that's his best match.
Okay, Brian?
I have to go with the obvious choice. My number one Shawn Michaels match is the 60-minute Iron Man match with Bret Hart. That's the greatest match of all time, in my opinion. And if it's the greatest match of all time, then it's damn sure Shawn Michaels' greatest match.
Is that when the 5 more minutes chant started? Maybe.
Maybe.
Possibly.
I don't like piggybacking off people, but since we're on the trend, since Richie took care of it for me last week, Brian took care of it for me this week, I'm with Brian. The Iron Man match is by far my favorite Shawn Michaels match of all time, and also could very well be my favorite match of all time. It was amazing all the way around from start to finish.
Surely was.
And I feel like Forrest Gump, and that's all I got to say about that.
Honorable mention was the 05 match between him and Benoit as well. That I almost picked that.
Brian said he's got 10. I got about 13.
What about the match between Cena and Michaels on Raw? They didn't go nearly an hour.
Yeah, that was great.
Were they? I think they're across the pond over in Ben Cliff territory, but I mean, they went like 57 minutes or something, and it was unreal.
What about Triple H, SummerSlam 2002 in the unsanctioned match?
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was great.
in 4 years.
And probably Kevin Nash's best match of all time, In Your House. Good Friends, Better Enemies Street Fight with Diesel. Mm-hmm. That was a good match.
What about Shawn Michaels versus Mankind?
Oh, yeah. Mind Games, baby. That was a good one.
Yep.
Razor Ramon ladder match at SummerSlam 95. That was
Or WrestleMania.
Or WrestleMania. Ric Flair, WrestleMania, when he retired. Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Career versus Streak versus The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many. WrestleMania 25 the year before, when I actually liked that match better versus The Undertaker as opposed to Shawn's retirement match. I thought it was a lot better. Chris Jericho back in 2008. World Championship.
That's when Jericho was the the champion.
Yeah, 05. I might have been 08.
Yeah, that was great.
Whichever that was.
Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan.
No, see, I didn't like that for the simple fact that Shawn Michaels. I loved Shawn's role in that, but it wasn't a good wrestling match because you could tell that Hulk Hogan didn't want to do business, so to speak. Shawn Michaels was overselling everything.
Yes,
I was actually in Pittsburgh at the Go Home Raw for that event, and seeing Shawn Michaels face to face with Hulk Hogan in the ring was incredible.
Well, and didn't Shawn Michaels play off of the leg drop?
Took a big boot and did a flip like he just got stunned.
Well, no, but the leg drop in particular, the leg drop took me out last night. You know, it's just totally crapping all over Hulk Hogan and that finishing move. Selena Cox said, "Did any of you all go to WWE in Huntington on Monday? Just curious. Sorry to get off topic. I'm assuming that was. I wish somebody who did go to that, or I guess I could look up the results. I don't know if that was a Raw show.
SmackDown.
So
house
SmackDown.
The Rawcast had something to do that night.
Yeah.
Raw.
Well, what I'm saying is they've got enough talent right now that they get an easy run.
I think our buddy Kenny Dunn's drunk. He says the best Shawn Michaels match was DX versus the Brothers of Destruction in Saudi Arabia.
He looked like he just lost a hair versus hair the week before that. I'll tell you that.
Last one I got is versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21. That was a good match.
What a match!
Yeah.
Here's one that no one's going to mention, but was actually a really, really good match. Shawn Michaels versus Marty Jannetty, where Marty Jannetty won the Intercontinental Championship.
Somebody mentioned it earlier on in the chat. I seen it there, but
I got another one no one's going to mention. What about Shawn Michaels versus Tatanka to start off WrestleMania 9? Great match. Great match.
I mean, you've got the one that the clip gets played when you see a Shawn Michaels clip. This isn't all of them, but his match against Shelton Benjamin on Raw.
Yeah,
when he super kicks him off his springboard. I mean. It's
Fantastic.
hard to have a bad match with Shelton Benjamin, though.
Hard to have a bad match with Shawn Michaels.
All right.
That's pretty much all I got, fellas. We'll see you later. Oh, wait. No. I know there's some controversy about this title, Derek. I know you feel like you were cheated.
There ain't no controversy about the title. There's facts and facts.
Fact is I'm the champ, and that's the fact, right?
I mean, I guess if that's what you want to call yourself.
Hey, I got the title. I'm the champ. That's how it goes, right? Before I go any further about that, next week here on the show, guys, it's going to be a lot of fun. Join us. Who was the best used, and who was the most misused talent that jumped ship during the Monday Night Wars?
So so we talked about that a little bit earlier. You want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead, bud.
So it's once they jumped ship, who was the best used and misused, right?
Right. Once they left.
Right.
To the other
Once
show.
they ended up on the other show, who got used and who got abused. Not who was the best used and misused before they left.
Correct.
Yeah, there's that. I already know my answers probably. What time is it, Brian?
It's game time.
Softball? You playing softball tonight, are you?
I was trying to see if we had enough time to just knock that topic out right now.
Well, we're going to hold on to that bad boy.
I have not watched the Nigel McGuinness documentary, Ben.
Is Ben still geeking out about that?
He's still kicking around.
Ben, let it go, brother.
I don't want him to let it go. I want Steve to watch the freaking documentary.
Let me ask then. It's on the network, right? So I can type in that. All right, I'll do it. Oh, by the way, have you guys been watching the Viceland series?
Absolutely.
If you call yourself wrestling fans and you haven't,
We
been
got the
watching
Von
that
Erichs
Von
tonight.
Erichs
Von
tonight.
Erichs tonight, and I'm telling you, man, every one of these so far have just been absolutely
I was listening
fantastic.
to Vince Russo's show today with Matt Coon. I know you're a huge fan, Brian.
I listened to it too.
But they also shot a what was it, a fight brawl for all?
Brawl for All episode, and it got
Yeah.
pulled.
Yeah, it got pulled because they had 8 episodes and they only put out.
You
6.
know, I don't know how much Vince Russo you listened to, but the week before he talked about that Brawl for All episode. They actually brought Vince. They went to Vince's house to shoot for the Brawl for All, and they mentioned to him about the Montreal screw job. And if he wouldn't have told them that he was there for that, he wasn't even going to be on that episode. He mentioned to them, "Hey, I was there for that whole thing." And then they added him to the Montreal Screwjob episode. They had actually already shot that episode without Vince Russo.
Michael Loving, are you drunk? He said he wanted to challenge Derek Jones to wrestle knowledge. He ain't even a champ no more. He ain't no champion. You want to challenge somebody, you got to challenge me, pal.
Even the guy taking cheap shots at me from the comments knows
No,
where
he
the
doesn't
real
know.
champion
I'm the
sits.
dang old champion. Me. This guy right here.
Mike Loving knows he can beat John Covey Cole.
JCC. John Covey Cole. Hey, I'll tell you what. You really think you're rightfully the champion? I'll tell you what. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you and some other folks an opportunity to get a shot at my championship, okay? This is what I'm going to do. Here in a couple weeks, we are going to do a Ramble in the Bank. Is what we're going to do. I've thought about this. What we're going to do is we're going to get Brian here, independent party, so to speak. He's going to throw out 2 or 3 facts on a wrestler. And you guys will have to name what wrestler that is. You get 2 or 3 wrong, you'll be eliminated. Last one standing gets to face me at a later date for the Royal Ramble Championship. Is that fair enough? Will that shut you up? Say, I'm the rightful champ. John Covey's paper champ. Is that fair enough?
I've never called you a paper champ.
Well, these guys out here are, and they really get on my nerves,
Well-
Mr. Dildo Tebow, whatever your name is. Is that fair? Is that fair?
It's not fair, but we'll see where it happens.
He's cussed John like a rented mule.
He's been wearing me out all night. I ain't done nothing to that guy or his kids. Ain't done nothing to him. I think that's fair. So if you guys want to in on that, but you got to be in studio too. And I'll tell you what, whoever wins, I'll let you guys choose what competition we do next.
Oh, hold on. So if we win
Yeah,
the Ramble in the Bank contest,
right.
we get to choose how we compete against you
Absolutely.
for the Royal
The type
Absolutely.
of match.
Type of
that
contest,
have,
you will get to
type of
choose.
contest.
I hate to burst everyone's bubble, but no one's going to guess my wrestlers.
Okay, Brian's going to have to be put on the back burner. We're going to have to get Steve or someone else to do these questions because Brian is telling the truth. He showed us in the past. Maybe me and Brian's in cahoots. Maybe we're going to do this so there's no winner at all.
Look, I wouldn't disbelieve that.
Hey.
Based on the events that have happened
We've
on
worked
this
together
show,
before.
Tank Branch Road screw job.
You
Flash-
screwed Derek.
flashbacks of Brian
Derek
Logan.
screwed Derek. Yeah, that's how confident I am. I ain't worried about it. If you win, you can tell me what kind of contest you want to do. That's fine by me. But if you guys watching at home, if you want to come into the studio and be a part of this Ramble in the Bank contest, message us. We'll get you lined out. Make it
Now,
work.
if I was writing this story, I would write Derek Jones to win the Ramble in the Bank, and I'd have Derek Jones go over on John Covey Cole and then face a mystery opponent in a wrestling trivia contest, and the mystery opponent would be Brian Logan. And then Brian Logan would walk out with the Royal Ramble Championship.
And the
'Cause,
show
man,
again.
Yeah, last time he was here, he stole the damn show, Brian. Come
No,
on.
we
man.
don't want to put the show on the line. We don't want that.
I'll defend my title.
Yeah,
Although
That's
I got to
it.
tell you, he acted real nice. He was a guest referee in that Smoky Mountain Spot match I told you guys about.
Does he know you're affiliated with us?
He does.
Hey, of course he does after the whole legal thing that happened. So if
I
all of
was
you are
gonna say,
curious
yeah.
and like the show, you should
I'll tell
really
you what,
appreciate
Steve,
Steve
I'll tell you what,
New for
Steve,
bringing it back.
This is what he done to me. This is exactly what he done to me. He sweet talked me. I was like, Brian's done changed his ways. He's an all right guy.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know,
Well, he didn't get it though, so he
He
might have
didn't,
wanted
he
the
didn't.
Royal Ramble, but he didn't get the Royal Ramble.
Dildo Tebow, you want to come? Come on in here. I'll 3D you through this table by myself. You ever seen somebody do a 3D by themselves? Leave you with a pecker flipper shirt right there on your head. All right, guys, that's about all the time we got this week. Like I said, if you want to get into that ramble and debate contest, get a hold of us. We want to hear from you. For Brian Resner, Derek Jones, Mr. Number 2, Derek Jones, Steve New, I'm the Royal Ramble champion, John Covey Cole, guys. Until
He's
next
going to
week,
run me off again.
ramble on.
Ramble on.